Good evening to you and welcome to The Bottom Line, a wrap of the business news of the day. I'm Frances Hurd, and we'll get to the number of the day a little bit later on. But how's this for a number? Retailer Steinhoff has offered $1 billion, or about 16.5 billion rand, to settle global lawsuits. Now, that is a fraction of what the claimants had been seeking. The value will be paid in shares and in Pepkor and also in cash. And we've always looked at Steinhoff, of course, since the implosion in 2017, a lot of where this company was going. Then it revealed that a myriad of transactions weren't disclosed, and companies purchased by Steinhoff were made to look better than they were. In a forensic report, the CEO Markus Jooste and 7 others have been implicated in the accounting fraud that nearly wiped out the share price. Now, this is an attempt to reckon with that implosion and the people who were affected, and said that Steinhoff should pay them out. To discuss, we're joined by Steinhoff's CEO, Louis du Preez. Mr. du Preez, thank you for joining us. So you want the claimants to support this, but why should they when they're not getting much out compared to what they had asked for?
Good evening. So as we said in our financial statements, we've embarked on a 3-stage journey. The first was to try and settle with our financial creditors and do a restructuring deal with them, which was completed in August of last year. Under that arrangement, we had the authority to make an offer to our financial creditors and to our litigants. Due to COVID and its ensuing results, of course, the assets values that were available have been severely impacted. Also, it's common knowledge that the rand has depreciated significantly. So we took a step back and said, but what is the art of the possible within the strictures that we've got? So as a board, we've come forward with a proposal that we think is a fair and a reasonable offer for shareholder litigants to accept. We've got shareholder litigants on the one hand, and as you would have seen from the public announcement that we've made today, there are also contractual claimants. Those are people that either sold their businesses or who exchange shares in other companies for shares in Steinhoff. So we're trying to balance all of those interests, and we think the offer that we've made is fair against the resources that we have available.
You can't pay all the claims. That's a fact. So will your message be it's this or liquidation? Take it or you may get nothing.
That is a risk. We say so in the announcement that there's a real risk as to where the group is at the moment. If this litigation was to go all the way to the end, and if findings were made against the group will just not be in a position to satisfy judgments of that nature. Thus, again, as I say, to try and to balance all the different stakeholders, we believe this is a fair offer.
A lot of people didn't understand why the ex-chair of Steinhoff, Christa Visser, who was actually there at the time, was then making a claim against the company. But he says he was duped along with everybody else. Where does this leave him? Any provision, what provision regarding his 59 billion rand?
So I think one must distinguish between the two factors. There's obviously the issue that you mentioned. The one that we are concentrating on now is the contractual claim. So Dr. Visser or entities that he's associated with did sell significant businesses to Steinhoff. Those claims, if you look at just on the South African side, was in excess of 38 billion rand. What we propose to settle for Dr. Visser is an amount of 7.9 billion rand. But what one must then immediately take into consideration, if the deal is accepted, there's an obligation on the Visser entities to repay an amount of 3.4 billion plus interest in a 5-year period.
All right. So now the general understanding is that you're in this mess because of a few managers, including the former CEO, Markus Jooste. I know you get asked this a lot, but Steinhoff is cooperating with the legal authorities. There was a forensic report quite a while back. Are you, as a company, noticing movement on this at all?
So there's been from our perspective, there's been good cooperation with the prosecuting authorities. We made it public some weeks ago that we have made available funds to assist in that process. So we have made company funds available. PwC is also assisting the prosecuting authorities in furthering the matter. So from our side, the lines are open. There is good communication. These processes always take longer than wants them to take, but I think we are moving in the right direction.
Yeah. And that forensic report, I mean, you have details that the South African public doesn't, and you've said there may be lawsuits, there's confidentiality stuff in there. Can you really explain that, though? Because, you know, we all demand openness from government. We want to know how state capture worked. And I think South Africans, especially many who had their pension funds invested in Steinhoff, want to know the truth. Are you not in a position to give that to them?
So there's a number of reasons. The one is the one that you've already touched on before, is the massive litigation that we face. So there's the legal privilege on that side. There's secondly the matter that we just discussed, and the criminal side of matters that are being investigated. And then thirdly is we're also using the report for outbound claims. So anyone in the legal fraternity will tell you why one wants to protect that to defend yourself. And on the other hand, it's also required for outbound claims to recover funds for stakeholders.
All right, can we end with this? An analyst asked me today, why is Steinhoff even listed? But we know that there is value. Pepkor, subsidiary, or you'll be selling some shares in that, Africa's biggest retailer now. How much faith can you impart in the company you're running? Should people invest?
That's a fair question. I've received that from a number of people today. As I said, when we started off, we've got the three-stage journey. I think we've achieved the one. We are on the brink of hopefully achieving the second. And I think we then have more time to deal with the underlying assets. We need to get through the COVID crisis, which I'm positive we are in a good space. And we will then be in a position to have a bit of a longer term view.
All right. Well, we appreciate your time this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good evening to you.
Louis du Preez. Good evening to you.